The gravel crunched under my tires, a gritty snarl that echoed through the quiet dusk as I pulled into the driveway of my ranch. The air smelled of sagebrush and freedom, the kind of open sky scent that makes you feel like you've escaped the world's chokehold. I'd been dreaming of this moment for months, my first night back at the Wyoming property I'd bought with every penny of my late father's inheritance. A place to breathe, to rebuild after years of courtroom battles and city noise. But then I saw her. Karen. Her silhouette loomed at the edge of my property line, arms crossed, eyes glinting like a hawk spotting prey. The HOA's self-appointed enforcer, her lips pursed tight as a lemon rind, ready to spit venom. "You can't park that truck there," she barked, her voice slicing through the twilight like a cracked whip. I froze, one boot on the ground, the other still in the cab. My heart thudded, not from fear, but from the sheer audacity. This was my land. And Karen? She was about to learn who she'd just crossed. I slammed the truck door, the metallic clang ringing out like a gavel. "Ma'am," I said, voice low, steady, the way I'd learned to keep it in court, "this is private property." "My property. I park where I please." Her eyes narrowed, a storm brewing in those beady pupils. She stepped closer, her floral perfume cloying, invasive, like she thought it could smother my resolve. "Not according to the Homeowners Association covenants," she snapped, waving a crumpled piece of paper like it was the Constitution itself. "No vehicles over 6,000 pounds. That monstrosity of yours is an eyesore." I glanced at my truck, rugged, dust-streaked, a beast that had hauled me through blizzards and backroads. An eyesore? This woman was delusional. I took a slow breath, the kind you take before sentencing a defendant, and said, "There is no homeowners association here." I checked. "This land's exempt." Her face twisted, a mix of disbelief and rage, like I'd just slapped her with a rolled-up deed. "We'll see about that," she hissed, yanking her phone from her purse. "I'm calling the sheriff." The air grew heavy, the kind of heavy that settles before a thunderstorm. I leaned against my truck, arms crossed, watching her jab at her phone like it was a personal vendetta. The distant hum of cicadas filled the silence, their buzz a mocking chorus to her theatrics. I could have laughed, Karen, the queen of cul-de-sac tyranny, thinking she could bully a federal judge. Me. Judge Elena Marquez, the woman who'd spent a decade dismantling corrupt HOAs across the West. But I didn't laugh. I felt the old fire flare in my chest, the one that had burned through every courtroom argument, every late-night case file. This wasn't just about a truck. This was about power. Control. And Karen's desperate need to wield it. Minutes later, red and blue lights flickered in the distance, cutting through the purple haze of dusk. A sheriff's cruiser rolled up, slow and deliberate, its tires spitting gravel. Karen's smirk was practically audible, a smug hum that made my jaw clench. The deputy stepped out, young, maybe mid-20s, his badge gleaming under the fading sun. "Evening, ma'am," he said to Karen, tipping his hat. Then he turned to me, his expression neutral but curious. "Got a call about a trespassing vehicle." Karen jumped in before I could speak, her voice shrill, a nail on a chalkboard. "This woman's breaking homeowners association rules. That truck's illegal, and she's got no right to ignore our regulations." The deputy glanced at my truck, then at me, his brow furrowing like he sensed this wasn't as simple as Karen thought. I reached into my jacket, pulling out my ID, not my driver's license, but the one that carried weight. The one with United States District Court, embossed in gold. "Deputy," I said, handing it over, my voice calm but edged with steel, "I'm Elena Marquez. This is my property. No homeowners association has jurisdiction here. I'd suggest you check the county records before this escalates." His eyes widened as he read the ID, his fingers tightening around it. Karen's smirk faltered, her phone still clutched like a lifeline. "She's lying," she sputtered. "She's just some city slicker trying to ruin our community." The deputy held up a hand, silencing her. He stepped back to his cruiser, radio crackling as he called in to verify. The air grew thicker, Karen's breaths coming in short, angry huffs, like a kettle about to boil over. That's when the unexpected arrived. A beat-up Jeep rattled up the road, its engine coughing like an old smoker. Out stepped an older man, grizzled, with a flannel shirt and a limp that spoke of hard years. "What's all this?" he called, his voice gravelly but warm. I recognized him, Tom, my neighbor from 2 miles down, a retired rancher who'd sent me a bottle of bourbon as a welcome gift last month. He squinted at Karen, then at the deputy, and let out a low chuckle. "Karen, you stirring up trouble again?" Her face flushed crimson, but she didn't back down. "This isn't your business, Tom," she snapped. He ignored her, turning to me. "Elena, you good?" His concern was genuine, a lifeline in the tension. I nodded, but my eyes stayed on Karen. Tom's presence shifted something. Karen wasn't just fighting me now, she was losing her audience. The deputy returned, his expression grim. "Ma'am," he said to Karen, "county records confirm this property's outside any homeowners association. Judge Marquez is within her rights." The words hit like a thunderclap. Karen's mouth opened, then closed, her face a mask of disbelief. I could have let it end there. Could have let her slink back to her manicured lawn and her petty kingdom. But I'd seen too many Karens, too many bullies hiding behind bylaws, terrorizing people who just wanted to live. I stepped forward, my boots scuffing the dirt, and fixed her with a stare that had made defense attorneys sweat. "Karen," I said, my voice low, deliberate, "you've been running this homeowners association like a dictator for years. Harassing neighbors. Filing false complaints. I know, because I've read the lawsuits. And I'm the one who ruled against your homeowners association last year. Remember the $2 million settlement for discriminatory practices? That was me." Her eyes widened, a deer caught in headlights. The deputy shifted, suddenly very interested in his boots. Tom let out a low whistle, his grin wide enough to show missing teeth. Karen's hands trembled, her phone slipping slightly. You can't do this," she stammered. "I have rights." I smiled, not kindly. "You do. But so do I. And so does everyone else you've bullied. I'm not just a homeowner, Karen. I'm a federal judge. And I'm done with HOAs like yours." The air crackled with the weight of it, the cicadas falling silent as if they, too, felt the shift. Karen's empire was crumbling, and she knew it. The deputy cleared his throat. "Ma'am, I'd suggest you head home. Any more calls like this, and we'll be looking at harassment charges." Karen's face crumpled, a mix of fury and humiliation. She turned, her heels sinking into the dirt, and stormed back to her SUV. The engine roared to life, tires spinning as she peeled out, leaving a cloud of dust and defeat in her wake. Tom clapped me on the shoulder, his laugh rough but warm. "You're gonna fit in just fine around here," he said, limping back to his Jeep. The deputy tipped his hat again, a flicker of respect in his eyes, and drove off into the night. I stood there, alone now, the stars emerging like witnesses above. My chest ached, not from anger, but from the release of it. The ranch was mine, not just on paper, but in spirit. I walked to the porch, the wood creaking under my boots, and sank into a chair. The air smelled cleaner now, the sagebrush sharper, the silence softer. I thought of my father, who taught me to fight for what's right, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Karen would go back to her homeowners association meetings, her petty rules, but she'd never come for me again. And maybe, just maybe, she'd think twice before targeting someone else. Justice isn't always a gavel. Sometimes it's a quiet stand on your own land, under your own sky, with the truth as your weapon. I took a deep breath, let it out slow, and smiled. The ranch was home. And I was ready to live.